This is a presentation of the Council for Promoting American Business. Throughout Missouri, there is an economic engine powered by the state's prevailing wage law. It is a foundation for Missouri families. It provides a living wage as well as vital pension and health benefits to families and communities across the state, all at no cost to taxpayers. Prevailing Wage supports a construction industry that reaches out to recruit and train its future workforce, one critical to sustaining Missouri's economic development, again at zero cost to taxpayers. By supporting pension programs that attract major union-backed real estate investment funds to invest in Missouri, Prevailing Wage is advancing statewide economic development. It's a benefit worth billions of dollars that generates jobs for Missouri citizens. And while keeping dollars at home and at work in Missouri communities, the state prevailing wage law allows local construction companies to consistently provide superior quality construction safely and productively. Whether the project is large or small, paying workers prevailing wage keeps tax dollars working to build every community in the state. Quite simply, Missouri's prevailing wage law ensures a standard of excellence for quality, safety, and productivity that has a far-reaching impact on economic development throughout the state. And for the first time, an exhaustive study by the University of Missouri at Kansas City reveals just how important that standard is to economic development and how misguided efforts are to repeal prevailing wage.
Prevailing wage delivers higher productivity because a higher wage attracts a more highly qualified, more highly skilled workforce. And therefore, they can produce a given level of output, whatever commodity we're talking about, at a lower overall cost because it simply takes them less man-hours to produce that output.
We have found that using union labor force and abiding by prevailing wage gives us the very best quality workforce that we could possibly get. We're assured in each and every one of our jobs that the people who are working on those jobs are going to give us a good final product. And ultimately, that's what our public demands, and that's what we have to have.
UMKC examined hundreds of thousands of construction projects in prevailing wage and non-prevailing wage states. It found no statistically significant impact on the cost of construction work, regardless of whether it's public or private work. Moreover, the study found that the often whispered contention that construction costs 20 or 30% more in prevailing wage states is sheer nonsense. Labor as an overall percentage of construction costs has actually gone down, according to the UMKC study.
If labor costs are 20%, which the data seems to suggest that they are, well, in order for overall construction costs to achieve a 20% savings, as the critics claim, labor would have to donate their labor. In other words, labor cost would have to decrease by 100%.
The UMKC study documented the benefits of the prevailing wage standard that supports a more skilled, safe, and productive workforce. A benchmark study of highway and bridge work revealed that prevailing wage states built more miles of highways and bridges for far less dollars than non-prevailing wage states. Gains in productivity and skill have been a hallmark of excellence for Missouri's road and bridge work under prevailing wage. The state of Kansas, on the other hand, has experienced the detrimental effects of eliminating prevailing wage. While Missouri's wage rate was higher, its construction costs were lower than Kansas. On a wider scale, in states that account for 60% of road construction nationwide, the cost per mile was more expensive in low-wage states.
Simple economic theory tells us that a more highly skilled, a more highly trained workforce can simply produce more output at a lower unit cost. It simply takes them less hours to achieve that output.
We built a 33,000 square foot administrative center for Jefferson County for the government, and we came in and built it all union, and it came in 30 days early without any injuries, professional work, and it was $400,000 under what the estimate was going to be to build it.
The UMKC study found that the sting of eliminating prevailing wage would be felt most in the communities it is allegedly to benefit. It would reduce income for Missouri families, money that won't be spent in their hometowns. And vital public programs would lose essential funding through a commensurate loss in sales tax and income tax revenue.
What I have found to be particularly interesting in this case is how people who normally run businesses and appreciate the complexity of many economic issues somehow think that they can reach into the construction industry, take a wage premium out of that picture, and assume that nothing else is impacted. That's just not the case.
Indeed, the UMKC study also found that a repeal of prevailing wage will create a greater dependence on state welfare to compensate for the reduced benefits that follow lower wages. This will be a burden borne by taxpayers statewide, in addition to the loss in productivity on projects that follow low-wage, unskilled workers from state to state.
People don't have health care benefits, okay? They can't afford health care benefits. They use the public health care system to provide those benefits. The state of Missouri and their taxpayers pay for that cost. In addition, if pension benefits are cut, we're looking at a more long-term problem. There, when people retire, they don't have pension benefits. And so there's an increased burden on the state of Missouri to provide for those people as well.
And in an occupation that ranks among the most hazardous, the elimination of prevailing wage has compromised safety, raising concerns for families and boosting risk management costs at construction projects. Not surprisingly, Missouri's investment in job training and apprenticeship programs has produced an exemplary safety record. Remove the standard of excellence that prevailing wage encourages, and unskilled labor flows into the state, bringing with it little or no safety training.
What we found is that when states repeal prevailing wage, over time, the apprenticeship programs in those states dwindled and diminished and were reduced in number. And this is not very good for construction.
In cities and towns across Missouri, prevailing wage supports the local workforce and keeps dollars at home rather than exporting them to out-of-state firms that employ unskilled labor and have no incentive to give back to Missouri communities. Prevailing wage ensures that Missourians reap the full benefits of a highly skilled, productive, and safe workforce that can deliver projects with lasting impact.
I think the people who want to do away with prevailing wage really don't understand the impact that that might have on the community. It's very simply an economic driving force that ensures not only quality construction, but it ensures a standard of life for the people who live and work in our community that is absolutely critical.
To find out more or review the complete UMKC study on prevailing wage, visit